So today my focus is on the hamstrings and the gluteal muscles. So the gluteus minimus, medius, and maximus. And per all of your requests, I want to show some of the exercises that target these areas. So we're gonna really go over them all thoroughly. Obviously, I just finished my workout and I can't catch my breath, but I'm introducing you to everything that you are about to watch. First, I want to go over the three major components to the gluteal muscle group. First of all is the gluteus minimus. That is a large portion, but it's the closest to the bone. It's on the inside. And then a little bit higher up is the gluteus medius. And the most prominent and well-known portion of the gluteal muscle group is, of course, the gluteus maximus, which gives you that teardrop look. That is the largest portion and, of course, the prettiest portion of our gluteal muscle group. With that said, you cannot have a well-developed gluteal muscle group without having a well-developed group of hamstring muscles. We call them hamstrings, but in fact they are the biceps femoris, the long head and the short head, and it is the vastus lateralis and the biceps femoris together that create that nice pretty line on the side. The gluteus maximus connects to the long head of the biceps femoris, which gives that high end that everybody talks about. So here are the target exercises. First, here are glute thrusts done on a leg extension machine. On the way down, we really stretch the hamstring, and when you thrust the hips up, you should be activating the gluteus maximus by digging your heels into the ground and squeezing really hard at the top. Done unilateral, you really need to keep the tension even in the heel to stay in the gluteus maximus. Next is a unilateral side saddle leg press. In this exercise, you really want to stretch the hamstring on the way down, and when you thrust up, you're going to really get into all three components of the gluteal muscle group, the medius, minimus, and maximus, of course, by stretching and contracting all of the muscles in the way down and the way up. Here is a butt blaster. I like to do this with both legs at the same time. And on this, you really want to tilt the lower back coming down. And then when you thrust the heels up, connect really well with the heels and the glutes, and you should really feel a good activation in the gluteus maximus on this exercise. Next is the hip rotation. You need to keep a strong core on this one. Shoulders back, tension out of the neck. On the way up, really pull the knee up, and then on the swing, you want to squeeze the gluteus maximus very hard. Again, tilting the lower back on the way up with the knee, and then driving with full force all the way through and activating the gluteus maximus. Here is hip abductors. I like to do these, I call them out of the saddle. You tilt the lower back with your chest up, shoulders back, tension out of the neck, And this is really targeted in the gluteus medius. On the very top, you might feel it in your quads on the outside, but if you really focus, you will get into the top portion of your glutes, which is the gluteus medius. Unilateral hamstring curls. I really like to perform hamstring curls one leg at a time because it forces the tension into the hamstrings, aka the biceps femoris. Again, the biceps femoris is what gives that tie-in appearance with the gluteus maximus and the biceps femoris. We want all of those muscle groups to be well-rounded and well-developed for a really pretty look on stage, and of course with a complete posterior chain overall. At the very top, if you squeeze, you should feel a little bit of tension right underneath the gluteus maximus. Here we have T-bar squats. This is my favorite way to perform squats. I just am able to tilt back slightly and get a really awesome activation in my gluteus maximus. I want to focus a lot on the thrust at the top. This is the portion of the movement where your glutes do not look very pretty. When you thrust your hips, you have to tuck your hips under slightly, squeeze them. Make sure no one is behind you because it doesn't look pretty, but that's okay because results are what you're after, right? And once I have pre-fatigued the glutes, I take it straight to a superset in which I stretch the hamstrings, thrust hips forward, and get just a little more out of my hamstrings and glutes. And last but not least, this is all not totally in order. It's a little bit out of order, but that's okay, is the unilateral leg press. And this, I really want to focus on the stretch of the hamstring when you pull your knee to your chest. Arch your lower back to feel that stretch in the hamstrings when you work your way down. And then when you squeeze, you never want to lock your knee out. You always want to have a slight bend. That's the portion of the movement with your hip tilted slightly back in which you really activate the gluteus maximus. You have to squeeze by digging the heel into the weight plate. And again, the knee is just soft at the top. You never lock it out completely.